Hey there, Diane Gehart again. On day 2 of how to write a book in 5 minutes a day. And so in my classes to achieve any goal, but particularly when doing something like writing a book or creating online content or an online course, I am a strong proponent of the 5 minute speed writing is what I call it. I call it speed creating if you're more of a creator. And I've been writing books, I guess, now for oh my God. Two, yeah, almost 23 years of writing books. I've formally published, I guess, 13 different books. I've self-published, 4 to 6 others, depending how you want to count it all. My mentor doesn't count my second editions. I do. It takes a year to do a second, third, or fourth edition of a textbook. Anyway, there are lots of ways to count how many books you publish, but I am an incredibly busy person. I work 2 to 3 jobs my entire life. I've always been a full-time professor. I've been a psychotherapist with a busy practice. I have been a single mother for the last, decade of my life. So I'm busy. And I also run an online, postgraduate training institute. So I do a lot and I don't have a lot of time to write. And when I first took my writing boot camp with Bill O'Hanlon back in the day before there were online courses, thank goodness he hosted all of his, I did an internet boot camp, speakers boot camp, and he had a book writing boot camp in Santa Fe. Love Santa Fe. So I would spend a week. And one of the, different strategies he talked about was this speed writing where you basically turn on a timer. You start to kind of use the right brain. I know technically it's not just the right brain, obviously, but it's this free flow off the top of your head, just download, and you can't stop, typing once you get going. You just like go, go, go. You have to write blah, 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 garbly gunk or say, I don't know what to say. But you just keep writing. And this is how I've written my last manuscript I just turned in was 1,500 pages, but this is how I write. And so during my busy time of the year, I only get my 5 minutes of writing in. And then when I have larger chunks as a faculty member, it's usually during the summer, I then record, and then I go back and I add all of the references and do the literature, stuff that I didn't have off the top of my head, and kind of fill it in that way. And yes, there are days you write and you chuck everything you write. It's garbage. You're never going to use it again. But there's this rhythm and this productivity you get. And it's always easier to go back and edit something than it is to write a perfect draft. So that's some of the philosophy behind the method. And so day 2 is probably a typical day when you first get started. I normally, my routine is, well, especially during the school year, I get my kids to school, then I go on a run, then I make my breakfast, have my tea, and then I meditate, and then I do my speed writing. That's my typical morning, how I like to do things. And sometimes I have more time or less time for each one of those activities, but that's typically how I like to stack my habits, so to speak. So, and today, it's day 2, it's January 2nd, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up. And my kids don't have to go to school. So I'm just going to have my cup of tea, meditate, and do my speed writing. And let me tell you, it didn't go well, or as well as I would have hoped. So it's funny, the running really is the key for me. I always say all my best ideas and all my books occur to me while I run, and then I come home and download when I speed write. So I have learned I have to do that exercise first, get into flow, and then usually some good ideas come to me because I know I have to write, and I'm going to do it that way. Go back to my traditional method. Forget this holiday schedule. Can't wait to get back to school, and that'll help my writing. How strange is that? So anyway, but I did sit down. I did my 5 minutes. Basically, I turn on the timer on my phone, and I write for 5 minutes. So yesterday, I did, as you know, the table of contents, and today I did I started chapter 1. So I went in, so I created a document. That is achievement. I started writing chapter 1, and I think I didn't start with a great story. Normally my speed writing is where I get funny and humorous and interesting and punny, and yeah, that didn't happen to me. But I did get it started. I got some of the key concepts in there, wrote about a page. It was really hard to not go back and fix typos. You're not allowed to fix typos. You're not allowed to format. You're not allowed to do anything once that timer goes. You just go, go, go. So I'll show you some of my typos if you want to see what that looks like. So you can see so this is all I got. I got about 2/3 of a page double space. You can see I spelled a name wrong. I spelled consultation wrong. I put "and" twice. So, so that's kind of all I got done in a day, but that's okay. It got me started, and it'll be something to go back and edit. So, and it's funny because I wrote about this exact topic in a book I worked on this summer, and I know I had a great metaphor, and I'm like, I couldn't even think of it when I was writing. But now, so what happens with the speed writing, it's going to percolate, right? And at some point today, I'm going to remember what I really wanted to say, and then I can write it tomorrow. But what happens is it keeps kind of the topic of the book, the thoughts about writing, the whole process is percolating all day long. So even though you only spend 5 minutes, I know my brain is going to be working on it more throughout the rest of the day, even when I'm doing other tasks. And especially once you get into this rhythm, your brain's, it's always percolating. So then your 5 minutes becomes more productive. So this is why I'm doing this whole series, to role model how some days are not perfect. You don't feel great about it. You didn't create anything you are excited to share with the world, but the process is in motion. It's starting to percolate, and I'm sure I'll have a better day. And I learned I have to speed write after I run. That apparently is what works for me. And you have to think about what might work for you, and just noticing when you have better writing sessions versus others. There can be lots of variables that affect that. And just for the record, those of you who haven't taken my classes, I only make you do it 5 days a week. And even when I teach people to meditate, just 5 days a week. Weekends are just too wacko. There are just too many things happen. And so I don't even pretend, if I feel like doing it on a weekend, I will. But I only do it 5 days a week. And unfortunately, New Year's was on Sunday. So somewhere along the way, I'm going to have to take a Monday holiday, because it's going to make me crazy to not have even numbers of 5 for all these weeks. But anyway, we're on day 2. It is technically a Monday. And like I said, a so-so day, but that's okay. It's part of the process. And the percolation is beginning. And I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow.